listening to Enlivening Musings, a podcast to enhance your life so you live fully alive. Sponsored by the Pleasure Fairy app. Download it for more support. Welcome to Enlivening Musings. I'm Crystal, and for the next few episodes, I'm going to be diving into helping you tune into your most awesome you and how you can radically love yourself. Now, many of you might know I have a program, Radically Love You. You can hop in there and join that and spend some time with me in that way to take this deeper. But let's get into it. Let's start transforming the world. I feel like so much of the world changes as each individual really tunes into themselves, starts listening to themselves. As Katie and I had done a podcast about sovereignty before, it's just so powerful when we can tune into our essence, our core, our oomph, right? And that's part of the foundation of being able to bring in more pleasure into your life, to live fully lit up and completely enlivened. So I want to play with that for the next few episodes and be able to give all of you little ways, aspects, tidbits to start tuning into that for yourself. So right now, I would love it if you aren't driving or anything like that and you're able to bring out a piece of paper or just able to close your eyes and tune in for a minute. I want you to actually think about what would your world look like and feel if you totally radically loved yourself. And I say radically because a lot of times people will say, oh yeah, I love myself. It's cool, da-da-da. But they don't get to that point where it's so radical that it's easy for them to say no to other people in certain situations, or it's easy to put themselves first, or it's easy to feel good showing the world that they love themselves. So I am pushing that to that edge of being radical. So again, what does it feel like if you love yourself so radically, so wholly, so completely? And what in your world changes? How does it change? How does it look if that's your core? If you love yourself so radically at its core that this is now your center and you move through life from that center of being so tuned into you and just completely radically loving yourself. Again, go ahead and pause this if you want to spend time with it. You can really just close your eyes and take some deep breaths and breathe into your body and really feel and be and play with this idea, with this sensation, and just see what all comes up. And then you can spend some time writing about that and journaling about that, and just see what unfolds. And I do encourage you to not force anything, let the writing free flow. Let it just express whatever needs to be expressed. Again, that is radically loving ourselves because we're not stopping and inhibiting ourselves and trying to curate what it is we're saying in, what we're writing down, even in our own personal journal thoughts, all of those things, because we do tend to hide and tuck away aspects of ourselves that we don't already radically love into complete wholeness. So again, you can pause and take some time with that because I'm just going to keep going. So, or do this at another time, especially if you're driving. Just, you can come back to the question on your own. You could listen to it again, whatever works for you. So one of the big thing from this episode that I want to share with everyone in radically loving ourselves is how often we can get stuck in not loving aspects of ourselves, and more specifically where we are being hard on ourselves for things we have done, said, feel, anything like that, which requires a little bit of forgiveness. So something I love sharing in my programs, with my people, with clients, whatever it is Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian practice. And I do recommend really spending time with it because I am not Hawaiian and it is not of my lineage. And it has completely transformed my life and been a very powerful tool for me. And I see it change people's lives all the time, just when it's even in its simplified version. However, I like to remind people to look at its roots because that can give it even more potency and it gives you even more reverence for how this tool, this practice can be impactful in your life. So go ahead and look up and tune into all of that. In its simplified version, it is following through the steps of asking for forgiveness and saying I'm sorry. So saying I'm sorry and then asking for forgiveness and then receiving that from yourself is the way I'm doing this right now. And then saying thank you and I love you. So when you're doing that with yourself, you are communing with yourself. Now, this is something you can do with other people, and you can do it in real life, or you can do it in your own mind and bringing up their energy and that concept of them. But right now, I really want to focus on just using it for you and with you for you. So if there's something where you've done something, said something, have some sort of shame around something that you've been hiding, then bringing yourself this forgiveness. So basically telling yourself, I'm sorry, and then asking yourself for forgiveness. And a lot of times I feel when we're doing it with ourselves, it can take a little bit longer than it does with another. So be patient with yourself, and you might have to do it a couple times, or you might just have to wait in that pause for a while. But at some point, there's a point where it's like, okay, yes, I forgive you. And then you thank yourself and you tell yourself you love yourself. So it's really, really powerful. And that's basically the tool, practice thing that I wanted everybody to be able to go exploring. See how it lands for you, see how much it impacts you. I recently had a client who is having a really hard time forgiving herself. And so I brought that to the table. And that night, she was already texting me and being like, oh my gosh, so much has shifted already. And then, I worked with her again a week later and then 2 weeks later. And both times, it's just, oh my goodness, it's impacting my life all the time and over and over and over again. So again, we don't need to want to dilute its potency. And you can also allow it to be simple and transform your own life. So I look forward to hearing from you and seeing how these two things, this inquiry of what radically loving yourself looks like, feels like, and what changes in your life with that, as well as the self-forgiveness impacts your life. So, of course, you can DM me on Instagram, the Crystal Franco. You can go on Instagram at Enlivening Musings and DM us both. You can also hop on the Pleasure Fairy app and DM me there. You can hop into Radically Love You, the course, move through that and just tell me what starts unfolding. And this isn't for the faint of heart either. It is radical. So sending you lots of love. Enjoy your day. Mwah. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like more support, hop on the Pleasure Fairy app or find Katie at wellnesswithkatie.com. You can also find us on Instagram at Enlivening Musings if you want to share some takeaways or other requests for future shows. Enjoy!